Everybody wants to make some extra money, whether it's to go on holiday, pay the bills, or more like in our case, because we're smart, to use it to invest and build some extra income. Now, I particularly don't like the word side hustle, although it's kind of the phrase that all of these things are coupled under, and that's for two reasons. Firstly is because it's very slapdash. The majority of side hustles that you see are repeated across the internet with any kind of understanding about how they actually work. A prime example would be dropshipping, Amazon FBA, or the latest, which is flipping NFTs. And secondly, a lot of them don't work, or they do work, but you'll earn peanuts. Filling out surveys for £1 per hour, watching adverts for 5p a view, or completing deals and offers that you actually have to spend money on in the first place. I wanted this video to shed some light on real, genuine side hustles that you can start today that actually work. And to give you some background, I've earned my living online now for over 15 years. It's all I've ever done and known, and helped hundreds if not thousands of people do the same in that time. I want this to be as transparent as possible and useful as possible, so for each one of these I'm going to do the following. I'll explain exactly how they work, I'll tell you realistically what you can expect to make, and then I'll tell you exactly how to do them. I'm also going to remove my background from the picture. It would be quite easy for me to just coming from a web design background to say, go and make some websites, which would be unfair. So I'm coming at this as someone who's maybe got a bit of tech knowledge, nothing more than kind of using Facebook, but not something that's completely out of reach, and anyone with a bit of dedication can pick up quickly. It's also worth bearing in mind that if you have a skill like me with web design, then you can maybe make more money doing that than you can with some of these. I'm also going to leave this as a downloadable guide in the description for free, so don't worry if you miss anything, you can print it off and go through it all in more detail later. So let's dive into these and get the ball rolling. The first side hustle is something that relates to what I'm doing here, and that's YouTube. Now, I'm not going to tell you to try and start a YouTube channel, or at least just yet, because the harsh reality is it takes months before you start generating a return, and even then you're very lucky to do so. I'll likely cover that in more detail in a later video. But what you can do is become a video editor. It's no secret that video content has become the dominant leader in the space of online content, and with that, a lot of people either don't have the time to edit their content, or they just don't have the technical knowledge to be able to do so. Now, I can really see this working in two scenarios. You could either create video content for local businesses, be it TikToks, Instagram videos, Facebook videos, or YouTube videos, because a ton of them would benefit from this and need help coming into that age. The second is you can reach out to people who are already in this space, who are maybe editing their own videos and could do with some extra help. Most YouTube channels, for example, above 20 to 50,000 subscribers, I say this range because it vaguely depends on the niche, some make more money than others, would benefit hugely from a video editor to save them time and offload their workflow. I know for myself, it's the main thing that holds me back making more videos is the time commitment of video editing, and it's the first thing I would like to outsource when I'm in a position to do so. A quick disclaimer here before I'm bombarded, I'll post on here when I'm hiring someone, but if you want to send me examples of your work, you can do, and I'll keep you in mind for when I have that position available. So what can you make? Well, if you're just starting out, then I would do the first few for free just to build your portfolio. And that's what I did with web design. Start at a low rate and increase it accordingly. You could easily charge 100 to 150 per video, and you would be at a really competitive rate to professional editors. And a couple per month could net you £300 per month. Time-wise, if you get it down, I say you could do a basic video edit in 4 to 5 hours, bringing your hourly wage in at around 20 to 30 per hour. Okay, so I know you're thinking I can't edit videos. Well, actually, it's not that hard. All you need is some editing software. There's paid and free versions depending on what level you want to jump in at. And in fact, a lot of big channels only use iMovie. Honestly, the majority of what videos are is chopping out the mistakes and pauses in speech, throwing on some transitions and text effects, and adding some background music. Of course, there are super professional editors who blow you away, but that's not what the majority of channels need. For example, two of the top channels in my niche, Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin, have very basic editing. In fact, Meet Kevin's is that simple, he just does it himself while he's recording with his tech setup, which is mind-blowing. To learn it, you could either take a Udemy course when they're on discount for $15, but honestly, everything you need to know is right here on YouTube. If you just type in iMovie Basics, you'll have pretty much everything you need to know. And anything you are stuck on, you just search how to do a slide transition and it will show you exactly how to do it. And I do it all the time. To get the work, you'll have to put yourself out there. Spend some time emailing people and explaining your situation, and just make sure you have a very genuine personal approach to your emails, and you'll get a good response. Don't try and email someone like you're writing a letter, make it relatable. And most importantly, try to come up with at least some examples of your work. That's always the one thing that puts me off responding when I have to do the work for them and pry the work out of them, which I just don't have the time for. This is a really good option that you can eventually expand and grow into a much larger business. Oh, and by the way, if you do have any questions about these, do comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. Before we dive into the next one, I have to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Stake. Stake is the home of the US market from the UK. They have no fees per trade, unlike brokers who charge a fee for every buy and sell of US equities. On Stake, you don't have to pay any fees per trade. Stake has introduced over 100 OTC stocks in Stake Black, which provides crypto exposure to their customers. OTC stocks provide exposure to cryptocurrencies, but are not direct investments into cryptocurrency themselves, which can be a nice way to invest in cryptocurrencies without having to own it. Stake is continuing to evolve the product and has some exciting additions coming, such as instant funding, which is just around the corner. So you can fund and trade US opportunities as soon as you see them. They have over 380,000 customers and growing. They're FCA registered and have access to over 6,000 shares and ETFs, and they also offer fractional shares. Plus, they have some very impressive share data with analyst ratings, which is very impressive compared to other brokers, which are really lacking in that department. Best of all, you can get a free stock worth up to $150 when you sign up, and that's going to be a Nike, Dropbox or GoPro. I'll leave a link down below for that offer. Stake's a very nice platform I've started using, and I would highly recommend checking them out. Next up is match betting. This one sits highly on my list because everything you make from it is classed as tax-free. It's classed as tax-free income because it's classed as gambling profits, although it's not whatsoever. In fact, you don't need to know anything about sports because I certainly don't, apart from the odd bit of boxing. You're just betting on the outcome of a race, game or event, to win and to not win. You lose a tiny amount of money on the bet, but you bank the free bonus the site offers you, be it 10, 20, and sometimes all the way up to 100. You can then repeat the process, but instead of using your money, you use the free bet money, which makes you profit. In terms of money, I made around £500 when I did this for a week, and I made the equivalent of earning £50 per hour, including tax. But that is because the initial sign-up offers are way better. People do make around £1,000 per month doing this, but they are pretty dedicated, and they're using multiple accounts. A regular person can expect to earn a steady £200 per month, doing this in their spare time. Maybe 8 hours per month, I'd say, averaging around £25 per hour, tax-free. Of course, you can do better than this if you get stuck into it and take the time to learn the more advanced strategies. This is also much easier at big sporting events in the year, Cheltenham Festival being a prime example, just because there's more offers and more deals available. I won't dive too much into this one. I would recommend checking out my video where I tried it for a week. I'll link to this at the end of the video for you so you can see exactly what I did. And I'll be releasing an explanation more about this next week, so make sure you subscribe and stick around for that one. And it may already be out depending on when you're watching this. I'll leave a link in the description for you. Now next up is writing. Now writing is a weird one because a lot of people presume you would write a book. Well, that's an option, but it's pretty slow with very tight margins and you need an audience. What I'm suggesting is you writing for websites. Now websites need content on a regular basis to keep up their traffic and attract new visitors. Even small websites need content to help them grow, which is a hugely undervalued niche. The other aspect to consider is script writing. Nearly all YouTube channels would benefit from having scripts, as that can be one of the hardest parts about making videos, especially when they take time to research like mine do. This video, for example, I've written a script which will end up around 4,000 to 5,000 words. Now that's not because I don't know this stuff like the back of my hand, but it allows me to stay on track and not wander off on a tangent for 10 minutes talking about how to market your writing business. Now I'm not saying you're going to need a degree in English literature to do this, because the majority of what you'll be doing is writing down in a chatty, down-to-earth format, more like a blog than a formal piece of writing. In terms of what you can make here, I know people charging £100 per article with very little experience, which are about 1,000 words in length, and most of those were quite generic. Now, of course, it can depend on how detailed the article is to write, of course. I would aim to start around £200 per month. That could either be 4 articles at 500 words or 2 at 1,000, but it all really depends on the type of content and how you get on. I would aim to make around £15 to £20 per hour for doing this, but you might even find that you can charge more by packaging it up. For example, approaching a small business and just saying, I can provide you with 4 posts to your website per month for £200. I'll upload them, I'll publish them, and I'll post them to your social media. It'll help build your traffic and generate you more sales while improving your customer relationships. Now this one again will take some outreach, but it's all about building those relationships. You can start on websites like Upwork and Freelancer to get yourself out there and build your contact base from there. Now another side hustle that I'd recommend trying is teaching. Now obviously this depends on your background and if you have a skill to teach, but a lot of people pay for online lessons, be it an instrument, a maths help, or more commonly a language. You can learn to teach English online, which being native speakers can be a really simple option. Although of course more specialist subjects may command more money. You can do this remotely through Zoom to people around the world. You have the option to either complete a short course to give you a qualification, which can help you earn more, or there's websites where they'll even just pay you to have a chat with them. Now this is a bit of a weird one to price because in my personal opinion, you are quite dependent on the sites that you're using and the time you have available. You may have to work quite insociable hours because of time zones, but that might fit in with your schedule if it's just something you're doing on the side. You can expect to earn around £10 to £15 per hour at entry level rate, and you need to do around 20 hours per month or 5 hours per week to earn £200 per month. Perhaps not as attractive as some of the other options, but it does work. With this one, I'd recommend just signing up to a few of the websites and seeing if you attract any interest, because finding clients for this one is tricky. Unless it's a specialist subject you can post in local groups, I'd probably compare this to most skill-based services, but it's quite a basic one that nearly everyone can do. Now next up is one I've had quite a bit of fun with in the past, and that's Amazon Books. This isn't the FBA baller lifestyle you may see people promising with Amazon courses, it's actually a much more realistic one. For this one, you're going to need the Amazon Seller app. From here, you essentially just visit charity shops and discount shops, scanning books to see how much they sell for on Amazon. Now I made around £100 in an hour doing this before, but you do need the app, which costs £25 per month. This gives you your seller account and access to the app, which allows you to scan books and get things like the volume they sell in and how much you can make. You can then list them, and you either have the option to send the stock into Amazon and they'll ship it out for you, or you can post it yourself. I chose to send all mine in because I didn't want to hold the stock. Now a quick apology here to anybody doing this because they probably don't want you to know about it. In terms of profit, I would say you could quite easily make around £200 per month with this one, with a couple of trips to nearby shops. The hourly rate is tricky because again, it just depends on how lucky you are, as it is a bit like hunting for treasure, but I would say you could easily achieve £20 per hour. As this grows, you'll be able to add other products such as toys, food, drinks, candles, and all sorts of items that resell on Amazon at a higher price. Now this one's really fun and good to do in your spare time. What I really like about this one is it requires zero marketing. The only hard part is finding the products, which does take time. If they have that sales volume on Amazon, then they're just going to sell pretty much straight away. The next side hustle I want to mention is social media marketing. This might sound crazy in this day and age. Business owners don't have the time to keep up with posts on the social media profiles. They don't have the time to send email newsletters, all of which could get more customers to them, but they just don't do it. It's something they mean to do, but they never really get the time to do it. Or even if they do it, they'd like to do it better. Or even just offload some of that work, like replying to comments. Even keeping up with the latest trends and technology is a job in itself. This is the one that actually just blows me away how quickly some people can get into it. I had one guy that came to me at 19 and within a few months he had a social media agency with 20 clients making around £5,000 per month. Of course, it had one hell of a lot of work to do with fulfillment, but it's definitely viable. This one could really be a whole video in itself because there's so many bolt-on services, upsells and offerings that you can present to clients. It's a really good business to get into. Typically, I've seen this sold the most at around the £300 per month mark, but to come in cheap and competitive, you can offer it at £200 per month. What you offer within that is sort of up to you, such as things like the number of posts and frequency, but you can easily make £30 per hour from this, even more if you get efficient at doing it, such as doing things like scheduling up the posts in bulk. Again, this one's a really great business to scale up. Now the last one, I'm going to combine two into one as they're quite similar in ways. And this is the job of a virtual assistant. The job of a virtual assistant can be quite varied. The first example I was going to give was that of a bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a really neat way to make some extra cash, or something that the majority of businesses hate and need help with. Sending out invoices, allocating payments, chasing money, all of which I personally hate in my own business. You can have somebody help with that. The second example is someone to just assist you, and you can get quite creative with this. A good example is someone running online shops. A lot of the product information might need updating or checking, orders need confirming if they're received, and follow-up emails with customers to get feedback and to check in whether they're okay. and if they need any further help, all super valuable things. You'd be surprised at how many tasks that business need help with, and this can be something you can easily offer. Pricing for this one, I would aim at around the £15 per hour mark and expect to make around £300 per month at 5 hours work per week. To get these sorts of jobs again, you can either approach businesses with an offer, or you can use job boards as well as posting in local groups and groups on Facebook, which are very specific to certain businesses. Such as small business groups, people in them are often looking for recommendations. You can even post a list of services you can help with. As long as you come across very genuine and not push a sales pitch, people will happily let you share your post. Now, I've tried or hired people for all of these side hustles, and I can tell you they really do work. They may not be the next get-rich-quick scheme and give you a Ferrari, or that approach that people will promise you, but they are very genuine ways to make some extra money each month to invest. Do let me know if you've tried any of these and share your experience. Hopefully this has given you some ideas of ways you can make some extra money. Would love to cover more of this stuff, so do hit that like button and let me know that you want to see more of these. And here is some more content that you guys may find useful. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you over there.